Welcome back to LVN News. This is Meng Hieng speaking on 12th January of 2022. This morning at around 9 a.m., we have received news about the hatred and violence against each other of the two big families in our city, the Capulets and the Montagus. The incident happened on the Verona street, a man lying dead on the street after a fight with another man. The dead man was Tybalt Capulet, and the murderer was Romeo Montagus. This is not the first time that a fight between long-term enemies occurred. There were many fights and disagreements within both families to the point where the Prince of Verona had published a warning saying that if there were another fight happen between both families, there will be a great punishment. After the incident, Romeo Montagus had ran away to escape his punishment. Regarding some reliable inside source, it was the fight happened earlier that caused this tragic incident to happen. It was between Mercutio, who is a friend of Romeo, and Tybalt Capulet. The two were seen fighting, and Mercutio was seriously injured under the sword of Tybalt. Later on, Mercutio was dead, as he cannot survive the injury that was put upon him. This led to a belief that Romeo was angry with Tybalt and acted as such to make a revenge for his friend. Now, let's hear words from the witnesses. Hello, Mr. Benvolio. So, can you tell us what are the causes of the fight between Mercutio and Tybalt?
Greetings, thank you for having me, but I can't say that I am glad to be here after such a tragic event. Poor Mercutio, I don't even know where to start, and I still can't believe that this is actually happening. But I will try my best to recall the event on that day. Well, me and Mercutio, we were just walking around looking for Romeo, and until we caught sight of Tybalt. Yes, the hot-headed Tybalt from the Capulets. And to be honest, when I saw Tybalt, I knew that something bad was gonna happen because my friend Mercutio, he is also hot-headed, and he's quite quarrelsome as well. And when the two meet, they started mocking each other, and not long after, they drew swords and they were fighting. But Romeo, he did appear and tried to stop the fight, but he didn't succeed. But or you can say that he succeeded, but it was too late because Mercutio, he was already injured, and unfortunately he succumbs to his injuries and he passed. And yeah, that's pretty much the event that happened, and it's such a tragic story.
As someone who is close to Romeo, what things that you should have done to prevent the fight from happening?
This question will forever haunt me, and I also ask myself what should be done back then. Why didn't I do anything? I mean, I did try to persuade him to leave, but I failed, and I didn't do anything else. I was too shocked. I didn't know what to do, and I just stood there and watched the event unfold, and it resulted in this tragic ending. And even though Romeo failed, but he at least he tried it to come between them and stop the fight, while I did nothing but stood there and panicked. And I must say that I regretted this very much.
Thank you, Mr. Benvolio, for your time. Now, I would like to interview Mr. Romeo himself. So, how do you feel after the loss of your best friend?
After the loss of my best friend, I felt so sorry for him and regretful because he had nothing to do with this. He was just trying his best to help us between the two families, Capulet and the Montagu, but he got killed instead. He was just being considerate and kind and helpful to the both family because he doesn't want us to have a fight and he wanted us to have peace. But unfortunately, he got killed instead. on, no matter how kind or how good his intention is, but if the other opponent didn't listen, so that is still lead to the loss of his life.
As hearing criticism saying that you were the one who made him get wounded, what would you do to compensate the result?
After hearing the criticism saying that I am the one who made him get wounded, I felt guilty and as well as angry at myself for making him involving in this situation, although he should not have been like this. To compensate the result, I would stop fighting or arguing with Capulet, because all of the Mercutio was doing is for the sake of both family. He just wanted to end the fight.
Thank you, Mr. Romeo, for your time. So, we would like to hear words from Professor Rania and Professor Lily. Good afternoon, both Professor Rania and Professor Lily. We would like to know that, from your point of view, taking a fight in the middle of the day, and even worse, 2 men were killed, what do you think about causing physical fight in general? And do you think what kind of impact will stay within our society if fighting is easily happening in the middle of the day like this?
Thank you for having me here. I'm Professor of Criminal Psychology from Thon University of Tonga. So my point of view relating to the scene, evidence and witness, there I think the cause of the fight is that Thibault is being aggressive toward Romeo. And Romeo certainly doesn't want to fight Tibet at all. But he cannot say this openly. And Romeo also tried to break up the fight, which remind them both that a dueling has been forbidden, and accidentally get between the two of them that Thibault stabbed Mercutio under Romeo's arms. It seems like only a slight wound, but Mercutio knows it is a mortal injury and quickly dies. And Romeo, who is after all a hot-headed teenager with a weapon, so he rushed into the action and to revenge for his friends. And for the second question, I think if people start to fight easily, like the scene of Romeo fighting with Thibault happening in the daylight like this, it will give a lot of negative impact to our society, and especially to youth community as well. So the first point, it will become a bad influence and traumatic exposure in small children to such a negative experience often lead to a post-traumatic stress reactions like as fear, sadness, eating disorder, and nightmare to the children. Moreover, people could think that the fight is a trend, so when people have agreements, they would not think of the way to solve the problem first or consult with each other. And lastly, our society will be turmoil and lack of security. So here is my answer. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Lily and I'm a professor of Friendly Jongkon Taekwondo Club from Lokivam University in Lokivam Town. Okay, thanks to Mei for your question, and I think that by taking the scene of fight between Mercutio, Thibault and Romeo, as well as many accidents that were caused by fighting, in my opinion, all types of fight can be considered as bad phenomenon, and it also gives bad impact on the society, including people who live in or near the society that the accident happened. And also, the achievement of fight can be treated as like causing disruption toward many people especially physical fight, which not only damage the people's reputation but also lead to their ruin and also the loss of their life as well. I think that if fighting if really happen in the middle of the day, the impact that are likely to stay within our society, and either that it will affect on innocent people, damaging the infrastructure, or even lead to frequent accidents that like involve fighting on the street. Like for example, people who are too angry and deeply immersed in the fight mostly can't focus, and like their fight will they just fight and then their fight will lead to big or small injury, and also it can cause damage to the surrounding area too. And I think that it will affect on other people feeling as well. People who stay near or stay at the fighting scene, or people who saw the fight might be frightened by that. Moreover, children will learn from the film that those adults cause and start to think that, oh, physical fight can solve all the problem. Then didn't it was easily solve their problem just by fighting? And then they will follow their footsteps.
Thank you, Professor Lily and Professor Rania, for your time. Now, that's the end of our LVN news. Thank you and see you tomorrow.